You know that feeling when you realize the people who were supposed to love you unconditionally never really loved you at all? That they saw you as a walking ATM machine, a backup plan, a safety net they could use and discard whenever they wanted? Yeah, I know that feeling too well. My name is Elena, and this is the story of how my own family abandoned my daughter on the operating table and then had the audacity to demand $5,000 from me, like I owed them something. But what they didn't know was that I had been preparing for this moment quietly, patiently. And when they finally crossed that final line, I didn't just say no. I made sure they would never forget what it feels like to be used, humiliated, and left with nothing. But let me take you back to where it all began. I was always the responsible one, the eldest daughter, the one who paid for family dinners, who loaned money that was never returned, who showed up at every birthday, every holiday, every crisis. My younger brother? He was the golden child, could do no wrong. My parents worshipped the ground he walked on. And my sister? She played the victim so well that everyone rushed to her rescue while I was expected to just handle everything. For years, I told myself it was okay, that family is family, that love means sacrifice. But there's a difference between sacrifice and being sacrificed. When I got pregnant with my daughter, Lily, I thought things might change. I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd see me differently, that they'd celebrate with me, support me. But instead, my mother made comments about how I should have waited. My brother joked that I was trapping myself. And my sister? She didn't even congratulate me. Still, I held on. I invited them to the baby shower. They came late and left early. I sent photos when Lily was born. They barely responded. But I convinced myself it was fine. They were busy. They had their own lives. And then Lily got sick. It started with a small lump on her abdomen. The doctors ran tests, scans, biopsies, and then came the word no parent ever wants to hear: surgery. She needed an operation to remove a mass that could become dangerous if left untreated. It wasn't life or death yet, but it was serious. The surgery was scheduled for a Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. I called my family. I told them what was happening. I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for much. I just asked them to be there, to sit in that waiting room with me, while my 3-year-old daughter went under anesthesia, to hold my hand, to show up. My mother said she would come. My brother said he'd try. My sister said she'd be there for sure. The night before the surgery, I couldn't sleep. I packed Lily's favorite stuffed bunny. I held her while she slept, memorizing the sound of her breathing. And I told myself that tomorrow, my family would prove me wrong, that they'd show up, that they'd care. The next morning, I arrived at the hospital at 6:30. I checked Lily in. The nurses were kind. They gave her a sticker. She smiled, unaware of what was coming. And I sat in that waiting room, staring at the door, waiting for my family to walk through it. They never came. 7 a.m. came and went. No call, no text, nothing. By 7:15, they took Lily back. She looked at me with those wide, trusting eyes and said, "Mommy, you'll be here when I wake up, right?" I kissed her forehead and promised her I would. And then she was gone, wheeled down a long hallway by nurses in scrubs, and I was left standing there, alone. I sat in that waiting room for 3 hours, 3 hours of watching other families hold each other, pray together, cry together. And I was by myself. I checked my phone obsessively. Nothing. I called my mother. Voicemail. I texted my brother. Read. No response. I messaged my sister. Delivered. Ignored. And that's when it hit me. They weren't coming. They had never planned to come. When the doctor finally came out and told me the surgery went well, I should have felt relief. And I did. But it was mixed with something else. Something colder, anger, hurt, a realization that I had been fooling myself for years. I stayed with Lily while she woke up. She was groggy, confused, but she smiled when she saw me. "Mommy," she whispered. "You stayed." "Of course I stayed, baby. Of course I did." Later that evening, after we got home and Lily was resting, I finally got a text from my mother. It said, "Sorry, something came up." How did it go? Something came up. Not, I'm so sorry I wasn't there. Not, is Lily okay? Just something came up. Like my daughter's surgery was a casual event she forgot to add to her calendar. I didn't respond. I couldn't. If I had, I would have said things I couldn't take back. So I put my phone down, tucked Lily in, and sat in the dark, staring at the wall, feeling something inside me shift, a door closing, a line being drawn. They had shown me who they were, and I wasn't going to forget it. The days passed. I took care of Lily. She recovered beautifully, thank God. But my family? Radio silence. No follow-up, no visit, no flowers, nothing. It was like the surgery never happened. Like Lily didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. And then, 3 weeks later, my phone rang. It was my brother. Hey Elena, he said, voice casual, like nothing had happened. I need to talk to you about something. I stayed quiet, waiting. So, I'm in a bit of a situation. I need $5,000. I almost laughed. Almost. But I kept my voice steady. $5,000. I repeated. Yeah, it's kind of urgent. I made some bad investments, and if I don't pay this guy back by Friday, things are gonna get messy. I know it's a lot, but you've always been there for the family, and you figured I'd just hand it over. I finished for him. Well, yeah. I mean, you have it, right? You're doing okay financially. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and then I said the most satisfying word I'd ever spoken in my life. No. Silence on the other end. What do you mean, no? I mean, no. I'm not giving you $5,000. You would think that would be the end of it, right? That my brother would accept my answer, hang up, and figure out his own mess. But no. Oh no. That would have been too easy. Elena, come on, he said, voice shifting from casual to annoyed. Don't be like that. It's not like I'm asking for $1 million. 5 grand is nothing to you. Nothing to me? I repeated, my voice colder now. You think $5,000 is nothing? Compared to what you make? Yeah. You've got a good job. No husband to split expenses with. Stop. I cut him off. Just stop talking. What's your problem? He snapped. I'm family. You're supposed to help family. And that's when I lost it. Not loudly, not dramatically, but something inside me cracked, and the words came out calm and sharp, like ice breaking. Where were you 3 weeks ago? Silence. Where were you when Lily was in surgery? When I sat alone in that hospital waiting room for 3 hours, terrified, while my 3-year-old daughter was under anesthesia. Where was the family then? Elena, come on. That's not fair. Not fair? I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. You want to talk about fair? I called you. I told you what was happening. You said you'd try to be there. You never showed up. You didn't call. You didn't text. You didn't even ask how she was afterward. And now you want $5,000? That's different. How is it different? I demanded. You can't show up for a child's surgery, but you can show up with your hand out asking for money? He didn't answer. Because he couldn't. There was no defense. I'm not giving you anything, I said. Figure it out yourself. And I hung up. For about 10 seconds, I felt good, powerful, like I'd finally stood up for myself. And then my phone rang again. This time, it was my mother. Elena, your brother just called me very upset, she began, voice sharp. What is going on with you? What's going on with me? I repeated, incredulous. He said you refused to help him, that you were cruel and cold. He's in trouble, Elena. Real trouble. And you're just going to turn your back on him? Like you turned your back on Lily? The words came out before I could stop them. She went silent. You didn't show up, Mom. None of you did. I asked for one thing, just one. Be there. And you couldn't even do that. But now he needs money. And suddenly I'm the bad guy for saying no? This is different, she said, echoing my brother's words. No, it's not. It's exactly the same. You only care when you need something from me. That is not true. Then where were you? I asked, voice breaking despite my efforts to stay strong. Where were you when I needed you? She didn't answer. I'm not giving him the money, Mom. And if you call me again about this, I'm blocking your number. I hung up. My hands were shaking. But I didn't cry. I refused to cry for them anymore. And that's when things got insane. 2 days later, I got a call from my bank. Miss Elena, the representative said, we're calling because we received a report that there may be fraudulent activity on your account. My heart dropped. What? What kind of activity? Someone called claiming to be you, requesting access to your account and asking about recent transactions. They had some of your personal information, but not enough to verify identity. We flagged it as suspicious and wanted to alert you immediately. I felt my blood turn to ice. Can you tell me who called? They didn't give a name, but the number is in our system. Would you like me to share it with you? Yes, please. She read the number, and I recognized it instantly. It was my sister. My own sister had tried to access my bank account. I thanked the representative, assured her my account was secure, and hung up. And then I just sat there, staring at my phone, trying to process what had just happened. They hadn't just asked me for money. They had tried to steal it. I called my sister immediately. Hey, she answered, cheerful, like nothing was wrong. What the hell did you do? I said, voice shaking with rage. What are you talking about? You called my bank. You tried to get into my account. Silence. Then, Elena, I can explain. Explain? You tried to commit fraud. It's not fraud, she protested. Your family. We just needed access to help with. Help? Help? You tried to steal from me. We weren't stealing. We were just going to borrow it. Without asking, without telling me, by pretending to be me. That's called theft. She started crying fake, manipulative tears I'd heard 1,000 times before. You don't understand. We're desperate. He's going to get hurt if he doesn't pay. Then he should have thought about that before making bad decisions. And you should have thought about it before trying to steal from me. You're being so selfish, she sobbed. Selfish? I laughed. A sharp, bitter sound. I'm selfish? I'm the one who's been paying for family dinners, loaning money, showing up for every crisis, while all of you ignored me when I needed you. And now I'm selfish because I won't let you rob me? We're family. No, I interrupted. Family shows up. Family cares. You're just people who share my DNA and think that gives you the right to use me. I hung up, blocked her number. And then I sat down and did something I should have done years ago. I cut them off completely. The weeks that followed were strange, quiet, peaceful. I blocked my mother's number, my brother's, my sister's. I changed my banking passwords, added extra security, and made it clear to my bank that no one but me was authorized to access my account. And then silence. No more calls asking for money. No more guilt trips. No more last-minute crises that somehow always became my responsibility. Just peace. Lily got better. She started kindergarten. She made friends. She laughed and played and had no idea that her mother had just burned down the bridges to an entire family. And honestly, I didn't regret it. But then, about 2 months later, I got a letter in the mail from my mother. It was handwritten, long, full of excuses and justifications and half apologies that blamed me for overreacting and being too sensitive. She said I was tearing the family apart, that I was being cruel, that I should forgive and forget because that's what family does. I read it once, and then I did something I never thought I'd do. I wrote back. Not a long letter, just a short, simple message. You're right. Family does forgive. Family does show up. Family does care. But you were never family to me. You were users. And I'm done being used. Don't contact me again. I mailed it, and I felt lighter than I had in years. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, if I miss them. And the truth is, no, I don't. Because the space they left behind got filled with something better: real friends, chosen family, people who show up not because they want something, but because they care. Lily doesn't ask about them anymore. She has grandparents now, my best friend's parents, who dote on her like she's their own. She has aunts and uncles, people I met through work and community who treat her with love and respect. And me? I'm finally free. Here's what I learned from all of this. Blood doesn't make you family. Love does. Effort does. Showing up does. For years, I let guilt control me. I let the idea of family trap me in a cycle of giving and never receiving. I told myself, that's just what you do. That's what good people do. But I was wrong. Good people don't let themselves be destroyed for others. Good people set boundaries. They protect themselves and the ones they truly love. And they walk away from toxicity. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. My family thought they could use me forever. That I'd always be there. Always say yes. Always bail them out. And when I finally said no, they didn't try to understand. They didn't apologize. They tried to take from me anyway. That's not love. That's manipulation. And I refused to teach my daughter that manipulation is love. So I walked away. I chose peace over guilt. I chose myself and my daughter over people who never chose me. And you know what? The sky didn't fall. The world didn't end. Life got better. If you're in a situation like mine, if you have people in your life who only show up when they need something, hear me when I say this. You're not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to choose yourself. Because real family, the kind that matters, will never make you feel guilty for having boundaries. And the people who do? They were never your family to begin with.